So we're going to look at briefly the real estate market first. And the wild housing market's big winner, according to this article, is home builders. Lennar Homes, for example, posted a record number of finished homes in the last quarter, delivering over 12,000 homes with a $5.3 billion in earnings that one quarter. They reported $1 billion in net income last quarter, which was a 251% increase over the prior year. 74% of homes sold in Austin in April were above asking price. And the median Austin home price increased 42% year over year to $465,000. And the net inflow of people into Austin has doubled over the last year. So Austin's on fire. The share of consumers who say they would buy a home if they moved hits an all-time high of 72%, which is very positive. Houston's sale of all properties totaled 12,000 last month, the second highest volume of all times. That's 55.5% up from May of 2020, with a total dollar volume soaring over 100% year over year. And Richard says we are witnessing the most energized Houston real estate market in history. Now let's look at franchises, brokers, and first one, OfferPad is a more profitable flavor of our buying, according to Mike Del Petri. OfferPad's first quarter, and here they count on who has the least loss, not who made the most money. But OfferPad's first quarter net loss was $233,000. And you're thinking, well, that's a lot to lose. But if you compare it to $58 million in loss for Zillow Offers and $270 million in loss for Open Door, OfferPad starts to look pretty good. Real estate startup Fly Homes just got a cash, they fund cash purchases for buyers. They're valued now at more than $800 million. And they have initiated $2.6 billion worth of home buying and selling transactions. And interesting, one of the investors in it is co-founder Spencer Raskoff, who also has recently started Picasso. Then Zillow in February began using the Zestimate as a live initial cash offer through its home buying program, Zillow Offers. The Zestimate is now an initial cash offer in over 900,000 homes in America. What about new technologies? Ford's F-150 Lightning electric pickup that starts under $40,000 can travel 230 miles on a single charge. Now for hurricane-prone Texas, the Lightning also offers another perk. Texans can plug into the truck's 9.6 kilowatt battery pack to power their home for 3 days during a blackout. So you don't need to buy a generator now, you just need to get that pickup. Wind and solar is rapidly growing in Texas, but the ability to get it to you is a problem. And Texas, I didn't realize this, but Texas has become the largest wind energy producer in the entire United States. And renewable companies need three main things to be successful. They need strong wind or abundant sunshine, which West Texas and the Panhandle have plenty of. They need a landlord willing to lease land for the projects, and they need the ability to get that electricity from point A to point B. And there's where the problem is, because we have limited capacity of transmission lines. So there's all this electricity sitting out in West Texas that the rest of the state needs, but can't get to it. And so that's a huge issue that we have to deal with. Fannie Mae has given mortgage servicers the green light to use third-party digital vendors to verify income and asset information. And the thought is that using digital tools to verify income and assets can turn weeks-long process to being resolved in less than 30 minutes. And one mortgage company said it's also much better than the alternative. Manually rewriting 2 million loans coming out of forbearance versus this digital is like night and day. Waymo, which is Google's self-driving unit, is partnering with trucking giant J.B. Hunt to begin testing how well its autonomous big rigs handle loads for commercial customers on Texas highways. So the first was going to be from Fort Worth to Houston. And imagine you're driving down the highway and you look beside you and here's an 18-wheeler with nobody in it. It's just driving itself. That's what this is going to be doing. Then billionaire Larry Page's Kitty Hawk is making an all-in bet on robot air taxis, the electric flying cars. And he believes that with one remote pilot overseeing 5 separate aircrafts in the air, its operating cost per mile will drop below $1 per mile, making it cheaper than either Uber or Lyft to operate. So if you can go, and United's buying hundreds of these, if you could go from downtown Houston to Intercontinental Airport in a matter of minutes in a flying taxi and pay $1 a mile, you're probably going to do that. And that's what United is starting first. I think they're going to do it in New York out to LaGuardia. They're going to start trying it there. And climate and diversity. So home shoppers are looking at more than just location, price, and the number of bedrooms when exploring properties. They're now wanting to know about the risk of natural disasters. And Realtor.com became the first major website to start to disclose data such as flood. What's the prospect of a property you're going to buy flooding? And so they've got that now on 110 million properties on their site. Redfin followed suit. They've added it to 94 million listings on their site. And then in May, Ojo Labs launched a partnership with Climate Check, which many of you know is Brad Inman's son's product, a startup that allows users to punch in an address and access a risk assessment for drought, fire, storm, heat, and flood. And Ojo Labs is now including that data on all of its listings on Movoto.com, which is always in the top 5 most popular residential real estate sites in the country. And I believe, according to what I've been told, Zillow is about to add Climate Check to all of its listings and all of its properties on Zillow. So it's something HAR.com will need to look at because we don't want to be left behind and be the last when people are going to other sites to find information they want. Now, think about a $6 billion 20-foot wall across Biscayne Bay to prevent flooding of Miami. And that's what they're looking at. Then in 2000, the Western US entered the beginning of what scientists call a mega drought, the second worst in over 1,200 years, triggered by a combination of natural dry cycle and human-caused climate change. And now ERCOT warns customers to conserve power due to the heat, but that's now been lifted, thank goodness. Then associations and MLSs, we talked about Stone Point Capital buying CoreLogic. And the new reality virtual tours surpass in-person property views. Zillow interest in virtual tour technology spiked to where that 3 out of 4 home seekers are now looking for virtual tours. And Redfin said that 3D virtual walkthroughs were up more than 300% over last year. And according to Forbes, COVID-19 is not the only factor behind the surge in demand for 360 virtual tours. Another force is the growing up of millennials and Gen Xers. And then the new normal. Good news is companies producing everything from steel to electric cars are planning and building new plants in the Southwest states. And the Southwest states are defined as Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas, increasing its manufacturing output more than any other region in the country. And then the new normal for listings. They talk about how in 1960, a listing included a small black and white photo and 3 sentences of description of a property. And at that time, newspapers were everything to advertise it. And now it's not uncommon for consumers to be able to like and save properties or search and request a home tour with a click of a button. And many have added walks tour to their sites, neighborhood information, tax history data, maps that allow users to see Google Street Views, automated valuation models. And consumers are gravitating to mortgage calculators. It's the 3rd best performing feature on real estate sites after photos and property descriptions. And what does the future hold? Prediction is it will include listings that come with the effects of climate change, like we were talking about, flood factor and climate score. And then build or rent suburbs. No longer build to sell, but build or rent. The country's largest home builders are planning for this future. Backed by banks and private investment firms, they're already betting on this and are putting down in the process of spending $40 billion over the next 18 months. Home ownership is predicted to decline over the next 2 decades. And let me leave you with this thought. What becomes of the suburbs if one day homeowners are outnumbered by renters?